Installation process of 800C hydrotherapy machine. Operation host. Hydro bed and accessories box. Open accessories box and check the accessories. Power cable. Plastic T-joint. Drainage valve. Raw material tape. 3 mm perfusion medicine transparent tube. Angle valve. 12 mm outer screw. 8 meters length of 12 mm water tube. 3 pieces of 12 mm inner screw. 2 pieces of number 4 battery. Transparent catheter. Faucet. 4 pieces of white latex pads. 10 pieces of 800C disposable catheters. 1 copy of certification. 2 pieces of 12 mm outer screws. Pressure release valve. 1 spanner. Pressure gauge. 10-hole cable. 1 water sprayer. 4 meters length of 6 mm water inlet tube. Water filter device. Remote control device. Tools required for installation: adjustable spanner, Phillips screwdriver, a pair of scissors. Okay, let's start to install the machine. Accessories required for installation: 1 piece of 12 mm water inlet tube, 1 piece of 6 mm water inlet tube, 1 piece of 10-hole cable. To cut the ring on the 12 mm and 6 mm water inlet tube. Be careful to cut it carefully, to prevent it from touching the inlet pipe and resulting in water leakage. Spread the 10-hole cable. At first, to connect the water inlet pipeline, unscrew the screw-on inlet interface of the operation host, and screw the screw cap onto the 12 mm inlet pipe. To connect the 12 mm inlet pipe with water inlet port of operation host, then cut a certain length of 12 mm blue water pipe. Attention please, ensure that it is long enough to be connected to the water inlet port of hydro bed. When connecting the water inlet port, to screw it with spanner, in case of leaking water. To connect the perfusion pipeline. The way is the same as the connection of water inlet pipeline. To screw the screw on the perfusion port of operation host and hydro bed. To cut a certain length of 6 mm transparent water tube. Attention please, ensure that it is long enough to be connected to the perfusion inlet port of hydro bed. To connect 2 ends of 6 mm transparent tube with perfusion port of operation host and hydro bed. To tighten in case of water leakage. To connect the perfusion medicine pipeline. The way is the same as the connection of perfusion pipeline. To screw the screw on the perfusion medicine port of operation host and hydro bed. To cut a certain length of 6 mm transparent water tube. Attention please, ensure that it is long enough to be connected to the perfusion medicine port of hydro bed. To connect 2 ends of 6 mm transparent tube with perfusion medicine port of operation host and hydro bed. Attention please, to tighten in case of water leakage. 2. Connect the wild 10-hole cable. There are 10 pieces of edges and corners in the interface of 10-hole cable. To connect 10-hole ports of operation host and hydro bed with 10-hole cable according to the edges and corners. Connect the video power cable. Open the side cover of the hydro bed. Insert the video power cable into the hydro bed through the gap. Disconnect the video power cable with camera, then cover the lid. Connect the water filter device. Accessories required including 3 white latex pads, 2 pieces of 12 mm inner screws, 1 drainage valve. To screw the screw caps of water filter device. To place 3 white latex pads into the 2 pieces of 12 mm inner screw and drainage valve. Then screw the 2 pieces of inner screws and drainage valve onto the water filter device. To screw them will be fine. Open the sliding door on the side of the hydro bed. Take out the blue water pipe and connect the blue water pipe to the corresponding interface of the water purifier, according to the prompt on the blue water pipe, and tighten it. To connect the sprayer, remove the blue mat and connect the sprayer to interface on the side of the hydro bed. To connect the drainage outlet and exhaust outlet. 75 mm PVC tube required by drainage outlet, 50 mm PVC tube required by exhaust outlet. Attention please, the insertion depth of drainage outlet is 40 mm. Exhaust outlet is 35 mm. To install the drainage pipeline with 75 mm white PVC tube. To cut a certain length of 75 mm drainage tube according to the installation sketch. Apply special PVC glue to the outside of the 75 mm drain pipe and drain port of colon machine evenly. Attention please. Apply enough PVC glue to ensure the tightness of the pipe to prevent leakage. Then insert the drain pipe into machine. To install the exhaust pipeline with 50 mm wall PVC tube. To cut a certain length of 50 mm PVC tube according to the installation sketch. Apply special PVC glue to the outside of the 50 mm PVC pipe and exhaust port of colon machine evenly. Attention please. Apply enough PVC glue to ensure the tightness of the pipe to prevent leakage. Then insert the exhaust pipe into machine. OK, to complete installation of the drainage pipeline and exhaust pipeline. Then let's start to install the water source pipeline. Attention please, to cut off the water source before the installation. Accessories required by water inlet pipeline including angle valve, 1 piece of 12 mm inner screw, 1 white latex mat, 1 plastic T-joint, 1 faucet, 1 piece of 12 mm outer screw, 1 raw material tape, pressure release valve, 2 pieces of 12 mm outer screw, pressure gauge, and spanner. Second, there is no connection interface with angle valve, required a plastic T-joint for interfaces. There are two ways to connect the water source. One is to connect the angle valve directly if there is a connection interface with the angle valve. Firstly, we will introduce the first method, to connect the angle valve directly. To wrap the raw material tape on the outer screw of the angle valve, to bind it about 15 to 20 circles as clockwise. Then connect the angle valve to the water outlet. Keep the water outlet of the angle valve parallel to the water source pipe and tighten to prevent water leakage. After finishing the angle valve, to place the 12 mm with latex mat outer screw onto the outlet of angle valve. To connect the pressure reduction valve. Firstly, to screw the cap on the pressure reduction valve. Attention please, to keep the black latex mat on the interface of pressure reduction valve. Secondly, to connect the pressure gauge to the pressure reduction valve, to tighten it. Connect the two pieces of 12 mm outer screw with raw material tape to the water outlet and water inlet of the pressure reducing valve. To cut a certain length of blue water tube, the length is about 10 to 15 centimeters. To connect two ends of blue water tube to the water inlet of pressure reduction valve and water outlet of angle valve differently. Attention please, to check arrow mark on the back of the pressure reducing valve. The opposite direction of arrow is water inlet of pressure reducing valve. The direction of arrow is water outlet of pressure reducing valve. Be sure to follow the pointing connection. To cut a certain length of blue water tube. Attention please, the length must be enough to connect it to the interface of hydro bed. To connect the end of blue water tube to water inlet of hydro bed, to tighten it in case of water leakage. Okay, we complete the installation of colon machine. Attention please, after we complete the installation, must check if there is the water leakage on the water pipeline and waste pipeline, and water filtered device pipeline. If so, to cut off the water source and check the water leakage points right now. That's all. Thank you for watching our video.